watching a recording of this or going to watch this later on, then just make sure that you go to Jermaine Higgins Presents, which is on the YouTube. Hi, if you're just joining as well. You'll be able to watch this later. Jermaine Higgins Presents YouTube. It's just going to have better sound. You're going to want it. Trust me, it's going to be better. I promise. Anyways, thank you, Josh. I do know that we are live. I'll take, if you want to talk after or towards the end of this, because I got a lot of shit to go over. We're just going to jump right into it. Disclaimer, we know that there's no right or wrong way to like or watch movies or television. My opinion is going to be different from yours. Your opinion is also yours to be had. Having said that, these are my opinions. And a lot of people ask what I think about movies and TV and where I should watch them and what's coming out. I'm going to tell you what I think and what I believe is popping, worth your time, or who you should watch what with, when. Let's get started. Now, what did I watch this week? What is very popular, I'm sure, is You People, which is on Netflix. It is Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy. It's basically Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, with Jonah Hill playing the groom-to-be and Eddie Murphy, the father-in-law. It is very, very good, very, very funny. It's the uncomfortability funny, but however, I think they did that a little bit too much. Like, you want more Eddie Murphy. I mean, and it's a movie to be uncomfortable to watch as well. Yet I wanted just more of it, I guess. It's hard to explain. And they showcased more of like, white people are awkward around black people, aren't they? And like, it was like, yeah, I get it. But like, I want more Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy, like making connections and shit, not just the punchline over and over again. And the sappy like speech, he goes, well, you know, I know what an asshole is. Like, yeah, it didn't resonate with me with Jonah Hill doing that. It had a very rom-com-y ending, which was like far-fetched and all that, but it was fun. It was a great, it's overall a good movie. It's fun to watch. I guess I wanted it a little more of the realness rather than the comedy, I suppose. Another movie that is on streaming right now is on Amazon Prime. Oh, I should say at the end of each review of each film. So, You People on Netflix, I recommend watching it. It is worth watching, and it is quite enjoyable. Shotgun Wedding, which is on Amazon Prime, is Josh Duhamel and J-Lo's destination wedding is held hostage by a gang of pirates. Can they save the wedding and their marriage? The answer is yes. It's a rom-com, and it's very much worth your time, I would say. It's a fun movie. It's R-rated too, so it's a little more fun, and they don't lean too much into the we're rated R thing. But there are some surprising scenes of violence, surprising F-bombs being dropped as well, and it's fun. I really enjoy it. It's been a while since I watched a good rom-com, and it's weird as a dude saying that, but some rom-coms are dope. All right, fellas, it's true. There's something you watched that you're like, yeah, that was pretty good. And it's considered a chick flick. But we're in 2023, damn it. Even though I've been watching that shit since the 90s. It's very fun. I love J-Lo. I realized watching this, I'm like, J-Lo's really good at comedy. It made me want to rewatch Monster-in-Law, or see some of her great acting abilities again, such as in Selena, The Cell, which is super dope if you haven't seen it. Enough, which is another great movie showcasing her acting. I also enjoy Shall We Dance, and Hustlers was pretty good. And of course, the great Anaconda. So yeah, great cast, great great venereal disease movie. There's no venereal disease in it as far as I know, but it's a great Valentine's Day movie. I read V-Day and I said VD. What else did I watch this weekend, you may ask? I watched a really fucking weird movie called Infinity Pool in theaters. It's the only movie I saw in theaters. If you catch up on the Popcorn Poppin' Live universe, you know that I wanted to see Missing, and I talked about it at length, but I still haven't seen it for reasons I don't want to get into. But anyways, I wish I saw that instead of seeing Infinity Pool. Shotgun Wedding, by the way, is worth your time. Let's get back to Infinity Pool. I wouldn't recommend this. It's about a failed writer and his rich wife meeting a group of his fans while in a Croatian resort, and a bunch of weird shit happens. I ain't gonna get into what happens, but let's just say, truthfully, 4 people walked out of the movie after an orgy scene. Granted, they were 2 couples, so technically you would count that as 2 people. one from each of the couples was like, "Hey, let's get out of here," and the other person, whether or not they liked the movie or not, had to leave, because if you're watching a weird movie on a date and the other person doesn't like it and they want to leave, you got to skedaddle. But it was funny watching them walk out of the movies. I laughed pretty hard. It's not it wasn't walking out bad, but it is a I give up bad. And bad being, kind of a hard word because it's meant to be a weird movie. It's meant to make you uncomfortable. So I get the genre of that. Yet it's very different when you don't care about any of the characters. It's got Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth, both of whom I like a lot. Mia Goth is fucking dope as hell. If you haven't seen X or Pearl, I recommend them, specifically Pearl, specifically for her acting abilities. She's the best part of the movie, but even her, you don't care about what happens. I'm just reading the comments. The Proposal is super dope with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, if you guys haven't seen that. And Sucker Punch bad with Infinity Pool? No, because it leans into being weird. Sucker Punch is bad for different reasons. Infinity Pool is so weird. If you don't know who David Cronenberg is, he makes a lot of weird shit. Scanners, Videodrome, The Fly, History of Violence. Is probably his least weird movie, but Naked Lunch, Dead Ringers, and Crimes of the Future, which you can watch on Hulu. So David Cronenberg is known for making his weird movies. And this is his son, Brandon Cronenberg. He did Possessor, which I enjoyed more than this movie. It's also very strange and does weird like identity shit, but it's pretty dope. It's not pretty dope. I would recommend, if you want to watch a weird movie, to watch Possessor instead of Infinity Pool, which is in theaters now. If you do decide to see it and you want to watch something to like get you a little geeked for the movie, Possessor on Hulu, or watch Crimes of the Future on Hulu as well. All right, what else did I watch this weekend or this week? Poker Face, which is on Peacock, airs every Thursday on Peacock. Streams every Thursday, new episodes. 4 episodes have been released so far. I'm in the middle of the 4th episode now. Super good. It's done by Ryan Johnson, and it stars Natasha Lyonne, who plays Charlie, a girl on the run from some dangerous people after her unique bullshit detector gift gets her into trouble. But she uses her gift to solve murders along the way. This episode is brought to you by Yogi Tea. I do yoga now, and I want to get out of coffee. So now I drink Yogi Tea. And the message of today is, I am unlimited. You are unlimited. Thank you, Yogi T. If you say I'm unlimited, that seems tiring. I feel like everyone should be limited at a certain point. Anyways, Poker Face. It's super dope. I didn't watch much of Columbo, but Columbo has a certain style of detective story reveal or storytelling. The style is called How Catch 'em. It's where we see the crime unfold in the beginning and little clues and puzzles for the protagonist, detective, or whoever to solve the episode later. So it shows basically the murderer's point of view in the beginning and how it happened. And you'll see like little objects or little locks or stuff like that be revealed. And you can tell like, oh, that's how the detective's going to figure it out later on. So it's super dope. Each episode starts with who the episode's mystery is going to revolve around, and how someone is murdered by someone, leaving little clues for Charlie to figure out later on. The murder happens, and the episode will jump to a few days earlier, shifting focus onto Charlie, the star, played by Natasha Lyonne, and her involvement with the crime leading to the murder, and her solving it afterwards before she moves on to the next city, an inevitable murder mystery. It's like an episodic structure, like Law and Order, but better, because I don't like Law and Order. I don't like that standalone stuff unless it's like Black Mirror. If you're interested in more types of How Ketchum's, Hitchcock does it a lot. He did it with Dial M for Murder, Rope, kind of, Psycho. I'm gonna do a Hitchcock episode for sure to get more in depth with that. But Poker Face has great cinematography and dialogue and writing. Natasha Lyonne's dope. The first episode's the strongest. Ryan Johnson wrote and directed the first episode, creating the show, and directed episodes 2, 3, and 9. But I don't think he's as involved with it as like most showrunners are. I don't even know how much of the show he runs, but it is supposed to just be a 10-part mini mystery series. We'll see if they have a season 2, and we'll see how the show goes along the way. If you're interested in more of Ryan Johnson's work, that's mystery, because mystery is definitely a strong suit. Don't watch Star Wars: The Last Jedi on Disney Plus. But do rent Brick and Brothers Bloom. Brick is about a high school whodunit with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Brothers Bloom is a twisty con comedy with Mark Ruffalo, Adrian Brody, Rachel Weisz, and Rinko Kikuchi. Sorry for mispronouncing your name if I did. And Looper, most people love. I didn't love it too much, but that's a time travel mystery with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Bruce Willis, and Emily Blunt. Another television show, 2 television shows on Apple TV Plus, Super Plus, are Shrinking and Servant. Servant didn't premiere. Their last season didn't premiere this week, but Shrinking is a brand new series. It stars Jason Segel, whatever. He plays Jimmy, a recently widowed psychiatrist that's still having trouble mourning the death of his wife. So he decides to say, fuck sugarcoating, and tells patients exactly what he thinks they should do. Also, he has trouble reconnecting with his daughter. Harrison Ford plays his boss daddy, and Jessica Williams is his co-worker. Jessica Williams wasn't in the first episode that much. 2 episodes have aired so far. Again, Apple TV Plus on Fridays. Do watch Poker Face on Peacock Thursdays. Do watch Shrinking on Apple TV Plus on Fridays. It's super fun show from Bill Lawrence. You may primarily know him from Scrubs, Cougar Town, Spin City. He also wrote for Boy Meets World and Friends. But this is brought by him and Brett Goldstein, which is Roy Kent from Ted Lasso, but they write for Ted Lasso, which is also on Apple TV if you haven't watched it yet. It is super fun. You know, it's like Ted Lasso in the sense of a feel-good show, but there are some badness and heaviness to it that Ted Lasso doesn't show you. Jason Segel plays Jason Segel, and it's a little too much Jason Segel because it's a lot of. I'm sorry. I like Jason Segel, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of him. They could use a little more of a B storyline because I love awkward Jason Segel, but yeah, and I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It reminds me of Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I'm not trying to say in a negative way, Jason Segel. You're obviously doing something right. I'm here, you're there on the screen. It's just when you're doing this all the time, it makes me want to watch. It makes me miss How I Met Your Mother because I had other storylines to see besides you doing that for 20 minutes. Sounds really mean, but you'll get it if you watch it. Super fun, very good. I recommend it. Apple TV Fridays. And other shows that I'm keeping up with that I believe you should as well. Servant is kind of here or there. That is about after suffering a tragedy that the mother can't accept, the father and her brother hire a nanny for a fake doll to help the mother cope. But the nanny conjures the fake baby into a real one. And that is literally what the show's about. It's a wild show. It's M. Night Shyamalan, so that's your warning. So it's a little. Anyways, lately it's pretty good and certainly different from previous seasons when it comes to character dynamics and focus. The show used to focus more on Sean and Julian, the father and brother-in-law, played by Toby Kebbell and Rupert Grint. And now it's more focused on Dorothy, the main protagonist, and Leanne, who's like now full-on antagonist, the mother and nanny, played by Lauren Ambrose and Nell Tiger Free. Leanne is much more villainized this season. She's scary, and everyone's scared of her. And her and Dorothy are more head-to-head in this season, and it works, especially with the final shot of Dorothy waking up in bed with Leanne at her bed like a daughter, because that's why Leanne sought her out, Dorothy out in the first place. If you don't watch it, I recommend at least giving it a shot. It's not one of the best shows in the world, but it's the final seasons right now. That's what I'm describing, and it's dope. It's worth my time. I'm glad that I invested time into it. And you can watch it on Apple TV Plus on Fridays. Velma. It's not that bad, guys. I think it's like Ghostbusters, the female Ghostbusters film. No matter how bad it is going to be or how great it could have been, the internet decided that it's bad before it was even released. I don't think people are even watching the show and they're reviewing it with a 0 or an F. I laugh still. 2 more episodes aired, and I enjoyed them. Well, actually, I lied. I didn't watch the newest of the 2, but from what I'm watching, still pretty good. So I dig it. You can watch it on HBO Max, and the new episodes stream every Thursday. Bad Batch on Disney Plus. If you're a Star Wars fan, it airs on Wednesdays about clone troopers unfazed by Order 66. I don't know about you guys if you watch this, but it's kind of a boring season for me. I loved the first season, and I liked the treasure hunting episode that was on last week, led by Wanda Sykes. But what made season one so great is that it took place right after Order 66, and you're like, what's going to happen with these characters? How are they going to continue? And now there's not much of an overarching plot, and it's kind of just the characters kind of floating along. I don't know where things are leading or like what MacGuffins there are or anything besides showing that one certain clone from Clone Wars that a lot of people love that I won't say, mostly because I can't remember his name, but also I don't want to spoil it. I still recommend you watching it if you're a Star Wars fan. Disney Plus streams new episodes on Wednesdays. And finally, Last of Us on HBO Max, Sundays at 9 o'clock. You can watch it. Still super dope. Ain't it? If you don't know what it's about, it's a post-apocalyptic drama starring the Mandalorian himself, Oberyn Martell, escorting the young Lyanna Mormont across the country to a rebellion group in an attempt to survive the worldwide virus of fungus zombies and the dangerous survivors along with them. Super dope. Specifically, I don't have much to say about it because if you don't watch it, you should. It's following the game very well. And they introduced clickers into this episode, and I thought they did very good with the clickers. They didn't change the sound that they made at all. And they did change how you could kill them a little bit, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It's still freaking dope, but I wanted to highlight that there's a scene where Pedro Pascal and Joel goes up to Ellie, and they're crouching down, and the clicker's right around the corner. They're crouching down behind a desk, and he does this, and they crawl behind the desk. And that is what the whole fucking game of Last of Us was crawling as Joel with Ellie. It was like a perfect, it was very nostalgic of actually playing the game. So I think they did a very good job with it. Again, another new episode is on tonight at 9. I highly recommend it. And that's what I've watched so far. So let's get into a little bit into what else is streaming that I'm probably not going to watch, but I wanted to talk about for a second. Netflix's new huge show is Lockwood and Company. It's about, according to IMDb, a tiny startup run by 2 teenage boys and a newly arrived, supremely psychically gifted girl, a renegade trio destined to unravel a mystery that will change the course of its history. It is super dope. Wait, it's super dope. Wow, I just caught myself lying. That's fucking nuts. And you caught it too. I didn't watch it, and I don't want to watch it. Not to say it looks bad. It looks YA, and apparently it's based off of Jonathan Stroud's YA novel series consisting of 5 books. I did some reading. I believe this first season, if you read the books or are interested, this first season is more adapted from the first 2 installments of the YA series. In doing some research on this show today, I realized maybe I'll at least give it a shot because Joe Cornish adapted it. And if you don't know him, he wrote and directed Attack the Block, which you can watch on Tubi. I highly recommend it. It stars John Boyega. Part 2 is in production with John Boyega as well. So wink, wink, wink. Again, Attack the Block on Tubi. He also directed a movie that I think looks fairly good for a family film called The Kid Who Would Be King. It's streaming on Disney Plus. I haven't watched it, but I'm mentioning it because I watched the trailer and it looked pretty good. He also wrote Adventures of Tintin and co-wrote Ant-Man with Edgar Wright and Adam McKay. Edgar Wright got me into Joe Cornish, and Attack the Block made me think, okay, I like this director. I like his style. I'd like to watch what else he's doing. So I want to give this Lockwood and Company a chance. It's on Netflix. So let me know in the comments or whatever if you or call me or text me and let me know if it's good. One last thing that's streaming that I'm not going to watch but you might be interested in is the Teen Wolf movie on Paramount Plus. I have no interest in it. Okay, what else is in theaters that I haven't watched that you might be interested in? Is a movie called Fear. It looks god-awful. I watched the trailer. According to IMDb, is about a much-needed getaway and a celebration weekend turns into a nightmare due to the contagious airborne threat. It sounds fairly good, and it's a horror movie, and I like bad horror movies as much as the next guy. This one doesn't look good at all. I won't be watching it. Living is a movie that was recently nominated for an Academy Award. I haven't looked at the all the nominees. I mean, I have looked at all the nominees. I don't have them set up, but hey, guys, I forgot to mention the Oscar nominations are up. I'm going to do an episode solely on those nominations at a later date. I just want to talk more about in the now, as of now. And as of now, Bill Nye, sorry if I mispronounced your name, plays a man who is a guy that hasn't really lived life, and he finds out he might be dying, so he tries to carpe dat diem. It's based off of Ikiru by Akira Kurosawa, which you can watch on HBO Max, spell Ikiru. It's one of his great films. It's a little long, but it's pretty good. It's actually a lot long, but it's still very good. Living is an adaptation of that, and Bill Nye was nominated for an Oscar. He's already a great actor, but I don't think he's been nominated for an Oscar before, so I'm excited to see what he does with the role. I just don't think the movie is going to be that great for me because when it comes to Akira Kurosawa, you can't really copy that unless you're doing Magnificent Seven or something else that's based off of Seven Samurai. However, that is also in theaters. Living is in theaters. Fear is in theaters. I don't recommend Fear, but I haven't watched it. I will be watching Living at someday. I'm not too excited about it though. But I will be watching it in preparation for the Oscars. All right. 2 more segments left. And the first one is what's coming out next week? Well, I will tell you. It is Wakanda Forever on Disney Plus, Wednesday the 1st. You can stream it on Disney Plus. So that's pretty dope. If you didn't have time to watch it yet, now you can watch it on Disney Plus. I'm excited to rewatch it because I had expectations that were completely thrown. I had ideas for how they would do the story, and it didn't end up how I thought it would be. So I think I'm going to enjoy it more the second time. Disney Plus, Wednesday the 1st. On Friday the 3rd, you can watch 80 for Brady, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, and Knock at the Cabin. 80 for Brady and Knock at the Cabin are going to be in theaters. 80 for Brady is about old women that go to the Super Bowl. It looks pretty funny. I don't want to go to the theaters to watch it unless like my grandpa's like, I want to go. I'm like, all right, Gramps, let's roll. Jeepers Creepers Reborn. The only reason I mention it is I think a lot of people are gonna go over it and go, oh, maybe I should watch that. It looks god awful. It's made by a different director, which is a good thing because Victor Salva, who did the first 3, I didn't watch 3, but it looked fucking awful. And also, it came out after finding out that Victor Salva was in prison for child pornography. So Jeepers Creepers has kind of a bad connotation. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but now I'm kind of like hesitant to watch Jeepers Creepers again, even though 1 and 2 were very good films. But if you watch those after knowing that writer-director is a creep, it makes a lot of sense when you watch those films because there's a lot of creepy scenes. Anyways, that's on Hulu. I don't think it's going to be that good. Knock at the Cabin will be in theaters. That's M. Night Shyamalan's film. I don't know, man. It doesn't look, I don't know. I'm picking up old vibes by M. Night Shyamalan, and I don't know. Also, a movie called Viking Wolf. I watched the trailer for it. It's coming out on Netflix on Friday the 3rd. I don't know. It looks okay. Maybe that'll be good. That CGI looked kind of shitty, but might be fun. On Saturday the 4th, Lyle Lyle Crocodile will be streaming on Netflix. I'm not going to watch it, but I hear okay things. So if you got some kids and you want something to watch, Saturday the 4th on Netflix, Lyle Lyle Crocodile will be streaming. And finally, TV-wise, The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder Season 2 will be streaming February 1st on Disney Plus. And last but certainly not least, well, that's all it's streaming next week. But I will say, if you want to rewatch the Netflix series, Hits series, it is time to rewatch it right now because part 1 is streaming on February 9th on Netflix of the new season. So be prepared. It's going to end with a cliffhanger until part 2 streams on March 9th. It's one way for Netflix to, keep subscribers on and not do it just a free trial just to watch you. So yeah, that's it. That's what's coming out next week. I'm also adding one last segment. Wow, we're going to get underneath 30 minutes. It's fucking dope. I'm going to do more with this, but I don't know how it's going to go. You know, and anyways, Popcorn Poppin' Movie Club is what is the working title. Basically, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to watch, and maybe you can watch too, and prepare yourself to agree or disagree with how I feel about it next week. It's basically a book club, but for movies. Movie club, Popcorn Poppin' Movie Club. So next week, I'm going to be watching Wakanda Forever again, and I'll be talking about it. Knock at the Cabin is the only movie in theaters besides Missing. I want to watch at least one major movie of the weekend to talk about it with you guys, no matter how uninterested I am in it. And I feel like that's going to be the big movie of the week. So, Knock at the Cabin, I'll be watching, which you can watch in theaters. We'll see. It's M. Night Shyamalan, so we'll see. But don't forget, it's February, so a lot of your streaming services are going to have a slew of different releases. But yeah, be on the lookout for that. I'm not going to go through old shit to watch on them, just what I'm going to watch. Black History Month, February. It is next week. And what I'm going to be watching is a movie that I have seen that I wanted to refresh and touch base on, and an old movie that I hadn't seen. And Judas and the Black Messiah, I'll be rewatching along with Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. The reason I chose Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, I love Sidney Poitier. I'd never think I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but you know, he's a fucking pioneer of black cinema. And I have only seen a few of his movies. So I need to watch Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. That and You People is basically based off of that. So Wakanda Forever, Knock at the Cabin, Judas and the Black Messiah, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner are the films I'm going to be watching next week. I'm also going to be keeping up to date with Poker Face, Shrinking, Servant, Last of Us, and a little tidbit. I'm catching up on the Power series. I'm catching up on the Power universe. I just finished the series. I heard a lot of shit about how the last 5 episodes were. I won't get into it now because we got to wrap it up. But I kind of dug it. I got to tell you the truth. TV show wise, I am starting Ghost, which you can watch on Stars if you'd like to watch with me. It's Power Book 2. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be watching. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family. Be sure that you keep up on the Popcorn Poppin' Movie Club for what I'm going to be coming up with next week. And keep an eye out. Maybe I'll be dropping some different videos on Jermaine Higgins Presents, which if you're watching on Instagram and you don't like the audio, watch it on YouTube because it'll be available on YouTube and it's got a better mic. You guys have a good night and I'll see you then. Goodbye, poppers. I don't have a sign off yet, so do not blame me for that. Good